Call a meeting to order. Larry, would you lead us in pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, Donetta, come on in. Is there an extra chair for Donetta?
Oh, yeah. For it. Thank you. You guys got enough room down there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We'll make it.
One more, I can give my chair up and go home. That's okay, take the rest of the day off, it's all right.
Welcome to the Douglas County Veterans Advisory Committee. I'm gonna do roll call. So Jerry Anderson,
Here.
Carol Hunt, Larry Hill,
Present.
Jim Little,
Here.
Rick Spee.
Here.
John Pearson is excused. Donetta Loomis,
Here.
Roy Bragdon,
Here.
and we have Commissioner Freeman. Also, Mary Newman is here, as well as the other VSO staff. Commissioner Freeman, do you have an update for us?
Well, maybe a couple comments, not so much an update, but June 1st, a group of us went up to the Willamette National Cemetery. I was very proud of all the people from Douglas County that went. It was their first crack at taking care of some of the unclaimed veterans remains that happened, I'm gonna say largely, not only, but largely because some of the people in this room. So Carol got that started. Several people here participated in that. Mary testified in front of legislative committees. I made a couple phone calls, and basically we started something really good.
Yeah.
Collectively, you should be very proud of yourself, not only for ones of you that took the time to go up and help them with their first event. As far as we know, the first event besides the one that was done here for the unclaimed remains. I don't think it'll be their last one up there in Multnomah County, and certainly as other counties sort of dig into this and start doing that work, it'll happen all over the state. So it's a beautiful cemetery up there. The ceremony included several generations of veterans in different uniforms dating back to the Civil War. So it was pretty interesting to watch all that. They had what appeared to be multiple flyovers of jets, but largely because they have a base right there close, and some of those may have been planned flyovers, some of them might have just been convenience of it happening, but it was very well done. And those of you that did take the time, thank you for representing Douglas County so well. That's what I had for you.
It was a really good event.
It was quite the event,
Yes.
wasn't it? It really was.
So we have, I missed an item on the agenda, approval of the previous minutes. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at those? Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, do we have any Roseburg VA updates from any of the board members? All right, how about Save Roseburg VA? Jim, do you have anything for us?
No, we just came from that one.
I just escaped from Puerto Rico last month, or for a month, but I did attend a meeting this morning with Bill Duncan had called. And one thing that sticks out in my mind about the meeting was we discussed wait times between the time that you make an appointment and the time you actually see a doctor. And I know Commissioner Freeman has mentioned this a number of times in various meetings, the disparity between the community healthcare and VA healthcare. Community healthcare, they're mandated that they, once they have an appointment, they have to see a physician within 30 days. Well, in the case of a veteran, I think the last count was 58 days. So it seems as though, in my mind anyway, veterans are being slighted in that particular instance. Also, we talked about continuing on and pursuing getting our full service hospital back. I know Bill and Bill Mixon and a few others went to see Senator Wyden over at Beachport in the town hall, and they got an opportunity to talk to him in particular about the 65 million additional federal funding that's needed for a state home. And we're gonna continue pressing on that to our elected officials to make sure that they know that that needs to be done. So, because a delay means a loss of money, basically. And as it happened before, we lost money because it was delayed. So hopefully that won't occur again. The future plans are we'll go on radio. Bill is gonna continuing to talk to the elected officials, making sure that they know we're definitely pressing forward with the state home. And Carol, can you recall anything else we chatted about?
Jim, we had that call with Merkley too.
That's right, we did, that's right. I've got too many rice and beans in my mind. My brain is befuddled, but Tim and I did get an opportunity to talk on Zoom with Merkley, directly with Senator Merkley, not with his aides. And he expressed his support for getting that state home situation going. So we shall see. I know Rick and I have dealt with Senator Merkley before. And not to get this in the minutes, but we just haven't had much action on his side versus Senator Wyden and in the past Congressman DeFazio. But we'll see.
Also, we met with Dan Whalen and Zach
Yes,
and
Elmer's, that was
we
true.
met at Elmer's and we discussed Congresswoman Hoyle would like to approach recruiting veterans to register to get VA healthcare. 41,000 veterans have been identified in Oregon as eligible for VA healthcare that aren't getting it. So she wants to initiate a campaign, whether it's gonna be media or, like social media and that sort of thing. Isn't that kind of what
Good point,
Dan
yeah.
was talking about? And because the more people we get into the VA system, the more veterans, it's gonna sort of justify having more staff and providing more services. So they're looking at that angle. So we were all in favor of that. I mean, that's sort of a no-brainer deal, so.
What do we need to do?
The numbers are the machine, that's the machine that makes the services come back. I mean, if we get our numbers increased, of course, we're gonna need the services at the VA. Also, Director Hall had made a comment about hiring additional physicians. I think it was 4 or 5. And we may go back to him and ask specifically, what's the story on that? Has that actually happened, or is it just, when is it gonna happen specifically? In other words, we're gonna kind of hold his feet to the fire on that comment, because we need the physicians here. My doctor, Dr. Taylor, he confided with me that he was gonna resign because he was just absolutely overworked. Seeing something along the line of, oh my goodness, I can't remember the huge number of patients he was
I
seeing.
think it's their I don't know if it's a mandate, 900 patients.
900 to a panel, yeah.
900 to a
900
panel,
to a
and they
panel,
wanted
yeah.
to raise it to 1,200.
He volunteered for that, didn't he?
Yeah, but
Okay.
he's not happy now that he's actually in the frying pan.
Yeah, okay, I didn't.
But no, I can see where a doctor would, my goodness, you wanna work me half to death at the VA where I could go on the outside and get my own practice and make many, many dollars. One last comment I'll make is, I think we should be real proud of the community we live in. Having been in Puerto Rico for a month, I saw corruption that's unbelievable. People like Tim would serve one cycle And then the next thing, you'd see them in a huge mansion up on the hill where they'd come from a little concrete block house.
That's
So
in Puerto Rico?
Oh, the corruption is horrible.
I'll have to make that trip.
Get some hints.
But I also talked to a couple of veterans and they said although they were born and raised in Puerto Rico, they were leaving because the VA healthcare there is absolutely horrendous. We have wait times, but they have wait times triple that. I mean, they can't even get in to see a doctor. It's really bad in Puerto Rico. So I know there's been efforts to improve that, but it's not good. That's, I don't know, unless Carol or Rick, you guys remember anything that was said?
No, I think that was the main thrust of the conversation with Dan and Zach.
Well, thank you.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back.
it's good to be home.
You understand there was a little rain while you were down there too?
Every day.
Yeah, that's what I heard, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have a comment. I belong to HBPC, Home-Based Primary Care. We have been, that community has been without a doctor for over a year. And there's 18 people in a holding pattern that they won't let in because there's no doctor present. And that's.
I think they hired one now.
We think that we have one coming, and it's gonna be a slam dunk if she does, because she's already a PC in California in the VA system, where she don't have to do all the dancing to get in. We don't know for sure, rumor, but there's 18 people that have been in a holding pattern that they won't let in because there's not a doctor present, and that's baloney.
Well, there's a nationwide doctor shortage,
Yeah.
so that's, I know the VA is obviously way worse than a lot of other people, but unfortunately, that's a issue nationwide across all different specialties,
Oh,
even,
yeah.
even in radiation oncology where I work, so.
Nurses have somewhat, I guess you could term it almost a revolt. VA nurses in the Washington DC area, we got a notification, Bill Duncan sent out to a number of us. The nurses are upset because they feel that veterans are being shorted by the lack of doctors and the lack of hiring, which instead of going increasing, they're going the opposite direction, cutting. I think it was 10,000 doctors nationwide, cutting. This isn't the time for cuts, it's the time for increases, in my view anyway.
Yes. So Veteran Forum, Carol or Larry, do you have an update on Memorial Day?
It was quite successful, thanks to Tim and his loudspeaker system this year. Really great, that was fantastic. We had about the usual number, 300 plus or minus there. The cemetery popped for seating, it was delivered and put up, so we didn't have to fight the establishment to get any. And that made quite a difference. And our host, she did real good for the first time up there, proud of her.
Good job.
She did, yeah, 'cause that's, you gotta get
There was
used.
a few little hiccups, she just flowed right through.
She did, she really did a good job. Flyover was, I thought it was a little early this year, cause they changed the flight route. It was
Well-
11:15 instead of 11:30, but that's okay.
No, we knew 11:15.
I know we did, but
Yeah.
they sort of changed it this
And
year.
they came like this, and they looped us twice.
Yeah. So they got a little more, everything was well received, no problem, we had no procedural glitches, it went off very smoothly. And as usual, the people really appreciate it, they really do, we got folks that support the veterans community here. And it's not just those that have some relative planted up there, it's, the veteran community is supported by everybody,
There
thanks
was
so
far
much.
more people at that event than the one we went to in Portland.
Yes, there was.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I was surprised there weren't more up there. Cause I mean, they got fantastic publicity out of it, I understand.
Well, they've got a million people there too.
Yeah, I know they do, yeah. So, Anything else on that, Carol? Oakland singers sang like birds as always?
They're signed up for next year, so we're ahead of
We
it.
already got, that's half the battle right there, so. Yeah, so it was very well done.
Nice. There was a note for courthouse memorial, is that the same thing?
There was a memorial at 9 a.m. out in front of our Douglas County War Memorial, put on by the Associates of Vietnam Veterans of America.
Yeah.
Nice,
They later read.
They do that every year too.
awesome.
And then they go to the old cemetery on Harvard for their second wreath, and then they come in for the service.
There's also a small event in Sutherland and in Glide.
Right, yeah.
And the day before your event, Reed Sport did their parade and their ceremony. All kinds of fun
Kudos
stuff.
to you guys, it sounds like you did an amazing job. Unfortunately, I was out of town, but thank you for all that hard work. For VetNet updates, the only thing that I have is Serenity One has amazing trips that you can sign up for, and they also need a lot of trail work that they're doing as well, and they need help with that. I just signed up for a rafting trip, and it's free for veterans, so Serenity One, just Google their name, and Elena will contact you if they have availability for you. The rafting trip I signed up for is in July, so Serenity One does amazing community support, so
That's the youngest one here.
they're a wonderful group to look into. Carol, do you have any parade updates?
As you see before you,
Yes, this is amazing.
this is the picture of our poster. One of the gals gave it to me and said that the VAC is going to vote on this today, whether it's good, and we should send it to the printers.
No, it'll be the parade committee that puts on it.
Oh, well,
This
she
was
said here, and I thought, well, that's weird, but that's okay, we like it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
No,
So it
amazing
won't
job.
be voted on then till July 3rd.
Excellent. So they're, just for those audience, they're recognizing Vietnam veterans this year for Grand Marshals.
It's your turn.
Rick, do you have a memorial?
I do. The memorial site construction is complete, except for the flagpoles.
And seal.
And the final ceiling that'll take place on a really hot day, probably in August. When the mason says, hey, it's 102 and now's do it in the morning and it'll seal it off. For those of you who don't know, the American Eagle flag supplier sent two 40-foot poles instead of two 45-foot poles. We ordered 45, we paid for 45. It was invoiced 45, so. Dave Palmer, the facilities manager, worked out a detail with the company to get the replacement at a really good deal. I'm not sure what the deal is, but it was a deal. And the two poles that are here are gonna be kept and they're gonna be utilized, I believe in Reedsport and possibly the Umpqua Lighthouse. Because those flags need to be updated, the poles.
So what they did is they sent us the new ones at the price we paid, and they very much discounted the wrong ones. So we had a choice to buy those or send them back. And the choice was to go ahead and purchase the shorter ones and use them because of the price.
Good deal.
Well, yeah, they didn't wanna pay the shipping, so.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so we were able to, get those 40-footers for substantially less than they normally would have cost.
So the electrical work is gonna be done prior to the new poles arriving. They should be here within, 3 weeks now? And then they'll just go up. They'll go up and then, of course, everything will be ready for the dedication on the POW MIA Recognition Day, Friday, September 20th. And then there's another thing that's come up, a QR code project, similar to the QR code that's on the poster. Tamara Howell, the community engagement specialist, came up with the idea of incorporating a QR code plate or a ceramic brick on the memorial itself. And it could be just epoxied on there, but this QR code could link visitors to the Veterans Service Office site.
Oh,
And then on the Douglas County site, it would link people to information available at the National Archives on our Douglas County casualties. So it'll take a little work organizing the links, but I mean, it's a real doable thing. The financial cost is minimal. You know, the cost of a plate with a QR code put on it, and then some epoxy. Let's see. And I think that's something that maybe we could have a motion on later and decide if that's something we want to do.
well, we can probably talk about it now.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do
I'm
it.
proposing that.
Right, you're motioning that you would like to put a QR code on the memorial?
I am.
Do I have a second?
I have a second.
Any further discussion?
Wow. That's pretty cool. Ooh, yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, that was real insightful of Tamara.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And then, with the MIAs, I'm meeting Thursday with Stephanie Giles at the library here at the county. And she's been working on locating living family relatives of the 7 missing in action from Douglas County. She'll have that information for me on Thursday.
Cool.
And I can forward that information to everyone. And of course, the dedication will be on that National POW MIA Recognition Day. And as far as looking to the future for invitations, of course, we would like to invite those relatives of living MIAs from Douglas County. The Oregon Garden Club, who produced the Gold Star and Blue Star byway markers, and they have established Douglas County, the War Memorial on their registry. We would probably want to invite the Military Order of the Purple Heart Department of Oregon for donating the monument. The contractors, MOPH Chapter 147 for financing and donating the Gold Star and Blue Star markers. Our grant people, the Oregon Park and Recreation Department, maybe local and state legislators, veteran service organizations, and anyone else that the county wishes to invite. And the county obviously will work out the details of the ceremony.
And that was the September 20th on POW MIA Day?
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
That's it.
Awesome work. Thank you, Rick. All right. The only, I know that John usually gives an update on Wreaths Across America. We kind of talked about it in our last meeting, and they raised over $60,000. Is that correct, Commissioner?
Yeah, my understanding is they ordered, make sure I got these numbers right, I think there's 7,000 headstones over there. They pre-ordered 6,500 and had the money for that. Had the money for all 7,000, but they wanted to let the Sea Cadets do 500. That's a fundraiser for them, and remember the Sea Cadets get a portion of the total that was, raised. You buy a wreath for $15. 5 of that comes back to the sponsoring agency, that's Sea Cadets. So I think the discussion was to allow them to do a little bit to earn part of that. They're gonna earn all that, so they're gonna do a little bit of the work. But my understanding is there'll be a wreath for every tombstone. There is been some discussion, and I've just heard bits of this, but logistically, the event will have to be a little bit different. In other words, we're not gonna be able to go out and stick 7,000 wreaths that morning at the event. To just place 7,000 wreaths would take hours and hours and hours, so I think the most we've ever had is like 800. So I think there's a conversation going on about pre-placing a number of those wreaths the day before, you know, with some staff, maybe even some paid staff. And then logistically, when the wreaths come, you gotta store them for a number of days before the event. When it's 700 wreaths, those fit in the back of a enclosed car trailer. When it's 7,000, you're gonna have to have a couple semi-trailers. So just logistically, everything gets more difficult with that many wreaths, and they're working on all those. Commissioner Boyce and others are working on all those logistics.
Do they need help with the committee to organize that?
I'll ask. I don't know that,
Cause that's gonna take a village, I think, to
Yeah.
well,
help them.
you're not gonna do all that with volunteers, right? I mean, you're not gonna,
Involving school.
I've already written a letter and taken that to the schools to posters for the parade, as well as asking each child to come and having us maybe make a little treasure hunt out of it to learn. You know, did you find a Purple Heart person or a lady vet or something like that? Do you have a place to put them?
They were
They
looking
come
for a
in?
place to store the wreaths, right?
I'm not working on it. Commissioner Boyce is, but again, it may require some, we may have to just contract stuff out to get it done.
I'm
So
wondering if
Commissioner
we
Boyce
can't
is the point of contact.
use the Guard.
What?
The National Guard, got a lot of room over there. Huh?
You could ask them, but don't forget, they're getting ready to deploy.
They're not deploying till end of the
I
year,
know, but you
I
know,
know
there's
they
still the
are.
prep time and all that, okay?
but if we had enough people on the
So
ground.
one of the conversations been around Coca-Cola Bottling Company. So, you know, using 2 of their semi-trailers
Okay,
to load them. I mean, it's that level of,
Yeah.
you know, they've got forklifts and, you know, delivery docks. When they come in, you know, it's gotta be something like that. It can't be, and it can't be kids. I mean, these are big, I mean, you're talking pallets and pallets. 7,000 is a big number.
Okay.
So, and I think there's, you know, there's a couple different trucking companies, Sprinter Trucking that's been talked to, A&M Transport has been talked to. So those are the sort of level of, and by the way, those folks were all contributors to help pay for it. So they may very well continue. There's also the truck driving school that has equipment that could, you know, so it's gonna be something like that. And then I honestly think at the end of the day, there'll be some paid staff helping place them the day before. I just think that's too much to try to go out there and do, but we'll see. Again, Commissioner Boyce is working with the committee. There's a committee that's doing it.
What about work crews?
Yeah, that all sounds good. We
Can't-
can't get anybody to show up for work crew.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah, see, the judge will sentence somebody to work crew as part of
Right,
their, but then if they don't show up, nothing happens to them, so they don't show up.
Oh, for God's
So
sake.
we run a work crew here, and it's very difficult to fulfill.
I'll be
And
darned.
that could be, I mean, we might try that, but
Yeah,
since this is timely, right, I mean, if you do it the day before and nobody shows up for work crew that day, now you got 7,000 reasons, nobody to put them out.
yeah,
So-
yeah, but you know, if you can get a few warm bodies out of it, maybe.
Well, and work crew is not that much cheaper than regular crew.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I
there's,
did not know that.
yeah, there's an expense to it.
Okay.
There's also a program at the college, and I'm not sure if it's still going, we used to
UCC?
use them for the parade.
The
It has to do
baseball
with
group,
community volunteer hours and
and we're
Yeah,
gonna
goes
do that
towards
this
some
year.
sort of.
High school kids, the same thing. They need
Also,
to-
Wolf Creek is open again.
Thank thank you.
I'll mention to him those ideas, those are all good ideas.
Mhm.
And Women Veterans, do we have any updates on that, Donetta?
Well, for the past month and a half, I've been actually working with Serenity, Source One. Going out and seeing their operations and stuff. They actually reached out to me, because they wanted to be able to have programs that reach out to women. And so, knowing that I was a female veteran, they actually called me and asked me to come. I went to their board meeting, to see what their goals were. I actually have another appointment. I also went out, to, the transfer site where they have their operations of how they raise their money.
The worm casting.
Yeah, the worm casting, so I actually got to see all that operation. And I have another appointment meeting coming up with Elena here next week to talk more about what actually they're looking for from me as far as my role in reaching out to other women veterans.
I can group for women, don't
They had one. The person who was in charge heading that up decided she needed to step down, so.
Interesting. Anything else?
The other thing is the Women's Town Hall that actually happened the evening of the last time we had a meeting, which was on the 9th of April. It was pretty informative. They have a lot of new programs they're trying to put out. They actually have a staff, I think, of 4 people in the women's clinic. And they started actually a menopause clinic, so they were excited about that and new clinics they have coming down the pipe.
Thank you. Are there any other updates from VAC members?
I have one,
Yes, Rick.
I have a veteran friend that went over to Seaside and was able to acquire David's chair. Some of us saw a demonstration at the forum, and he got to take, the Elks in Seaside have one of David's chairs. And veterans can check that out, and he went out and had a wonderful time on the beach. He's partially blind and prosthetic leg, and he just had a wonderful time. So remember that these are available along the coast, I believe, in some strategic places.
I might mention, going up to the event at Portland, we drove up together in the VSO car, and the conversation time with 3 hours up and 3 hours back was a tremendous opportunity to catch up on a lot of things that I was not aware of, so.
All right, I
And
think.
our driver was very good.
Yeah, fast.
She didn't hit anybody, so better than I do.
Women veterans are gonna be recognized tomorrow in this room. It'd be nice if a lot of us showed up to support our sister veterans.
That is correct. The commissioners are doing Women Veterans Day, right?
Tomorrow and
9 o'clock.
at the meeting this morning, there was a question about this month being Vietnam Veteran Month, and were we gonna do a proclamation? And my mind was somewhere else, but I called, Neil Hummel had asked about that, I called him back and reminded him, we did our proclamation at the fairgrounds. As part of, we're working with the VA, so we've done the veteran proclamation this year. But tomorrow is for female veterans.
Also, every year, some of you here may recall, the only indicator we had of spring was when Dirk Kreisman wore his shorts. And I noticed that Roy is wearing his shorts, so apparently spring has arrived.
Rick too.
Oh, yeah, both of them.
Oh, look at that.
Well, I thought you folks were Canadians. You wear them all the time.
All right, I think Mary, you have the floor now, or your cohort.
Okay, so quarterly report statistics, Reno, you have, something for us?
Reno.
just a couple of months worth so far. So we have May and June along with our retro payment, so we're doing pretty good. So we're at $3.2 million that's come back to the community for Veterans Awards. Right now, so our quarter isn't out yet, so that's not the final number yet, but it's pretty good.
Pretty good. Just a measly 3.2 million.
Excuse me?
Just a measly 3.2 million.
3.2 so far. We're like I said, quarter's not over yet. So last quarter we had a really good quarter. It was over $5 million we brought back in the community. So you know we keep having little award or contests to try to beat that every quarter.
That's awesome.
Some quarters are better than others.
So we get positive comments about our veteran service office all the time. Over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten 2 very specific positive comments about, the work you're doing. So thank you for making the county look good and taking care of our veterans.
Thank you. It's always very humbling to get, but I am merely a reflection of my office and the support, the support we get from it.
Oh, so
So
Oh, yeah.
if it wasn't for everybody's support from leadership on down, then it wouldn't be possible. So thank all of you. Thank you.
We have had a few retro awards come in for people that have been over 70,000.
Good.
So there was one that was 100,000 recently.
Yeah, it was my highest award yet. I call it the Kim Phillip Award because Kim's notorious for getting over $100,000. And I had one veteran, it was $138,000 was his retro amount.
Wow, isn't that nice?
Gotta buy a Humvee.
And Commissioner Freeman just talked about some kudos that we got, and I did bring 2 of the letters. We get quite a few that are emails or, just phone call type things, but these people took the time to write. The one says, "Dear Sir, your Veteran Services employee Reno Raines is a great advocate for Douglas County veterans. Among his many attributes is his thorough knowledge of the spider web of federal government red tape and how to navigate through it. Yet he understands the stress experienced by the veterans and their families. His calm explanations help relieve those stresses. Mr. Raines has the characteristics of a true professional with extensive knowledge and yet compassion. Our compliments to you for hiring such a stellar employee."
That's awesome.
One. And then the next one is, "Hello Reno. I'm thrilled to have discovered through the app that I've been awarded 100% permanent and total P&T rating. They sent the claims for rhinosinusitis, okay, you guys don't need to know that part. As we figured they would. Not surprisingly, one of the claims was denied, but I would like to appeal it. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to you for your exceptional guidance and support throughout this process. To be honest, I was taken aback by the news of my permanent and total rating, and it's been a lot to take in, but I'm convinced that I wouldn't have gotten this far without your expertise and encouragement. Please pass along my sincere thanks to all the outstanding individuals working at the office who are working tirelessly to ensure that veterans receive the benefits they so rightly deserve." So
That's awesome. Thank you.
great office. So the next thing is outreach activities and trainings. So the veteran service officers all attended the national training that was held in Denver. And there's not much air up there. That's what I learned the first day we were there. You can't walk very far. And then by the end of the week, you're acclimated and you're ready to go, but then you're leaving. But then you come back home and you feel energized because there's more oxygen here. And it was a really good conference. We had, there were a VA central office people who spoke to us about a lot of the things that we've been talking about being understaffed and trying to get people to work at the VA and the long process that it is to get somebody hired, which it shouldn't be. And the Undersecretary of the VA for Benefits indicated that they were working hard to get that resolved. And the same was for the health administration side of the VA. So it was really good training. I think we were able to give our input about different things that need to be worked on by the VA, and I think they took it to heart also. There was a funny thing that happened. So they had, it was open for comments, and there was this veteran service officer who he's probably about 5'2", and he had a long white beard and a slouchy hat on, and he was up at the microphone and he said, "Want to know what's going on with this Horan stuff?" And so it was the Undersecretary Bradshaw just kind of looked at him and just went, "No, I don't know what he's talking about." And so she said, "Can you repeat that?" And he said, "Yeah, Horan. We need faster Horan." And so my friend Ann Knowles from North Carolina got up and put her arm around him and said, "So Pappy wants to know why it's taken so long to hire people at the VA."
Gotta speak Southern, it's a whole different.
Boy, that's true.
It is.
That's true,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
Reedsport outreach, Reno goes to Reedsport by appointments, so we have second and fourth Tuesdays reserved for that. Usually he gets everything done on one Tuesday, but if there are more people that want appointments, we can put them out on the fourth Tuesday. We've been having mini trainings once a month by the Oregon County and Tribal Veteran Service Officer Association. And those meetings are open to all the CVSOs in Oregon. We recently had one about appeals and how to do research and get really do effective appeals. We do VetNet once a month, which is the first Wednesday. We have the ODVA and OCV. It used to be easy to say OCVSOA, but now they've added the T in there. So it's OCVTSOA, which is our association. Training committee meetings are the last Wednesday of each month, and that's a committee that is addressing the training needs of all the veteran service officers, newer and older veteran service officers, because for a lot of the new people, it's so overwhelming, the things that you have to learn. Sometimes the training is at a level that they just, it kind of just goes over their heads, but we try to make it so that there's special trainings for newer people and trainings for the more advanced veteran service officers. On June 1st, we took that trip to the National Cemetery, and that was just great. Next thing is the Memorial Day program. That was a really good service ceremony. Next thing is we're going to be partnering with Senior and Disabled Services to kind of host a Veterans Cafe at the Riddle dining site. And that's, the intent is to have a gathering place for veterans. Older veterans can kind of mentor younger veterans, for VA purposes and for PTSD, not counseling, but listening to somebody who has been through it also. That kind of helps people sometimes. They're also going to have crafts and projects for the veterans to do. And also have speakers, and then our office will be there to help talk about veterans' claims and other issues that veterans have with the VA and with their claims. And they also would like to out of that, maybe get some veteran volunteers for some other programs that Senior and Disabled Services has, and for this program as well.
When is that?
It's gonna start in November, I believe.
Is it gonna be advertised like in the News Review or?
Oh, yeah, that will be that. This is just getting off the ground.
September, starts in September.
No, that's when Jeremiah will come, Jerome will come to our office to talk about it. Okay, last thing on here is a phone number for VES, one of the contracting services for CMP exams. So if you know of anybody that's having problems with that particular contractor, that's the number that they should call for help. It's at a higher level than the number that they put on your CMP letter.
So VA contracting services for CMP exams is VES 1-877-637-8387 for the
That's
cameras,
for the what?
for our audience,
Yes.
because they can't read our paper.
And that's all I have.
Excellent, thank you, Mary. You guys do a wonderful job as always. Any other announcements go to the order? I heard that somebody had a 50-year anniversary. 50 years with one person.
Thank you. I asked a couple at church one time, what's the secret of your longevity of your 50 years? And she replied, we didn't kill each other.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But no, I had,
Congratulations.
it was a wonderful celebration. And it's so good to be back.
Yes.
I do have one thing. I just wanna thank Douglas County. There were a number of us who met with Deputy Secretary Rasher at the VA.
It's true.
And the county put together this very nice thank you letter. And it was sent to the secretary and copied to all our delegate from Oregon state representatives, senators, and the Veteran Integrated Service Network Director, Teresa Boyd.
Rick, did you share how she started the meeting? That's what's most impressive.
It's really something.
It's unique to any upper level official. Like Tim has said, this lady was one that was appointed by the president and approved by Congress. And when she first came in the room, her chair was at the head of it, and we four lesser veterans were down at the bottom of the table, and she came in and said, oh, this won't do. She picked her chair up and moved it down right across the table from we four and said, these are the folks I want to talk to. Which really took us aback. I mean, never have I seen that happen before. The times that we've had officials visit us here, so.
And it was active listening on her part, note taking, a real interest in what we had to say, which was pretty damn nice. It really was.
She was a sister veteran with 20 years service, so we could speak the same language.
Yeah.
So it was, we got our points across, I think.
And of course, realized she was a good Army vet.
Yeah, she gave hand slaps to everybody. She came to me and she did a fist pump.
I know that little rivalry going on there.
Yeah.
Any other announcements? All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.